Welcome back, everybody. I'm Logan Crawford, and this is Fresh Outlook. It is time for our lightning round. I am joined by our Ebru think tank, Albert Goldson from Indo-Brazilian Associates, Jackie Guzda from Western Connecticut University, and Thomas Lavecchia from X Factor Selling. We got a number of issues to talk about right now. First and foremost, marijuana is going to be legal apparently for medicinal purposes in New York City. Quick thoughts on this, Albert? Good, bad, indifferent?
Well, they have to be really careful about defining as far as what medicinal is. And many of the laws are written with a lot of gray areas.
So we don't know if you want it, you're going to find a doctor who lies for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
So again, it's something I think that's good. There are people who need it, but we just have to stay on top of it.
And Jackie, what are your thoughts on legal marijuana?
It's never killed anybody. Let's tax it, tax it, tax it, and pay for education.
Yeah, it's such a disparity, though, that in certain states you can use it, certain states you can't. I mean, what happens to the person, I'm not going to ask you this legal question, who uses it in Colorado legally and then applies for a job in New Jersey? Are they out of luck because they used a legal substance in one state and traveled to another? What are your thoughts about legalized marijuana for medicinal purposes?
It has its place, especially folks who can eat when they have, go through chemotherapy. Helps in all the so there are beneficial aspects to medicinal use, and it's been proven and in medical journals. So if it's approved in New York, so be it, and it's been established in many other states. So I'm fine with it.
Mike Nichols died this week. He is a famous film director known for his films, The Graduate, among other works as well. He was married to Diane Sawyer, a longtime newswoman. Albert, what are your thoughts on his passing?
Well, just one word: plastics. That's the big line that he used in The Graduate. I think he was a genius, and he helped a lot of stars, begin their careers, establish their careers. It's sad for his passing, but
people die at 83.
People die at 83.
Yeah, but he did make an iconic film. The Graduate is like few other films, particularly in the era when it was made. It broached on a lot of topics that were completely scandalous back in the day and introduced us to some wonderful music, like the theme from The Graduate. Jackie, your thoughts on Mike Nichols' passing?
I feel so sorry for Diane Sawyer. I mean, that's a wonderful romantic story. She marries this icon of the film business who's almost, 20 years older than her. And it's just a shame, I think. And she's got my condolences.
We'll have to raise a glass to them later and say, here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
Not many people around like him, few far between, a true class act, and he'll be missed.
Yeah, absolutely. Turning to our next topic, speed in New York City. They've lowered the speed limit as part of Vision Zero to 25 miles per hour. I'd love to be able to go 25 miles an hour in New York City. It seems like it's a moot point in most of the cases. What are your thoughts on this, Albert?
I think there are people who walk faster than 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great opportunity for New York to clean up on a lot of the speeding tickets, because a lot of people, again, are so accustomed to going with the flow, going with traffic, which is closer, well, certainly over 25. But eventually, I think they will adapt. And for safety purposes and by traffic studies, it's certainly much safer at a lower speed in an urban environment.
The way I look at it, though, is often I'm driving in Manhattan, I'm doing 3 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour. Finally, the lights line up properly and the traffic parts, and I can do 40 miles an hour for 2 blocks. At that point, I'm scared to death now that I'm going to get a ticket for going 15 miles over the speed limit. That's what we've created, Jackie.
No, my formula is that you are allowed legally to be 5 miles per hour over the speed limit without getting a ticket. And if you go up Madison Avenue towards the Bronx, if you keep it, and if you can keep it without people crossing back and forth, at a steady 35 miles per hour all the way, you can hit the bridge in the Bronx safely.
Smack into it.
At 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning.
Thomas, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the bottom line is they're going to probably try to raise some revenue by giving tickets probably 30 and over. And the truth of the matter is you can't go that fast in New York anyway. And if you can, again, they're going to raise some revenue with these extra tickets. And frankly, it's a moot point, right? Because I know they do traffic studies that say, 25, you have this % chance, 30, I think it's kind of the threshold. Above that is great, but at the end of the day, if I'm speeding and I'm going fast and I hit somebody, they can get injured.
Right.
And I don't know if curtailing it by 5 or 10 miles an hour is going to make a difference. I think they're just trying to raise some revenue.
I think Manhattan is a different story than the outer boroughs. The outer boroughs, where a lot of accidents happen, such as Queens Boulevard, is like Death Boulevard. I mean, it's like 8 lanes of traffic. Old people try to cross it, even if they're trying to do so legally, and a lot of people do have room to speed there. I think one of the big problems is modifying the behaviors of pedestrians, because they cross against lights all the time. A big difference. In LA, you know, I remember first going out there, I'm like, why aren't these people crossing the street? What's wrong with these slow folks? What do you think about modifying the behaviors of pedestrians in order to create Bill de Blasio's Vision Zero of fewer no deaths by traffic in New York City?
It's a utopian idea for New York. New Yorkers are highly independent. They're very different from anybody else. In most of the country, you can put up, let's say, on very dangerous intersections, etc., various barriers so that people must cross with the light. For example, Avenue of the Americas near Rockefeller Center, so they don't cross at the corner, they cross under controlled circumstances. So that could be established, again, in very high volume, high speed, or dangerous sections of the city.
Jackie, your thoughts on modifying the behaviors of pedestrians?
I don't think we need any modification whatsoever. It's kind of an unsaid thing that in New York, if you feel that you're safe to cross, you can go, whether it's legal or not. I think the big problem in Manhattan are the tourists. I mean, it says don't walk, and they don't walk.
Right. Well,
they gotta go.
We hate them anyway for a whole variety of reasons. Thomas Lavecchia, every Saturday morning you like to get dressed up in Lycra from head to toe, have your helmet on, get on your city bike, and you plow through the city streets and those lanes. I actually think those bike lanes that you're riding on are perhaps the most dangerous thing in Manhattan, because I step out and I'm looking both ways, because they'll be coming left, right, going through the light, doesn't matter. And
very recently, an award-winning cellist was hit by a bike that was speeding by like in this award-winning.
Right, he was doing like 50 miles an hour.
And he hit her, and and at the end of the day, it's as dangerous. People don't think about it, but it's as dangerous. So I think they should be focusing on the total traffic, not just vehicle traffic, but also bicycle as well.
I agree. Let's look at some video of a very unusual cake. It is a toilet cake, okay? It's a giant cake made in India, and it's in the shape of a toilet for some reason. I'm sure there's a backstory on this. Albert, what are your thoughts on this? Do you want this for your birthday?
No, not quite. Visually unappealing. However, it is an important symbol with respect to providing the proper sanitation for quite a number of people in the world. I believe it's about 1 billion people do not have the proper sanitation facilities, and the sad part is there are more people who have mobile phones than have access to fresh sanitation. Wow. So if that's the case, I mean, we should be able to provide fresh water, sanitation facilities for those individuals.
So it's an important reminder. It's a big cake for World Toilet Day to remind us that, hey, a lot of people don't have toilets. As Albert said, they have more people have cell phones than toilets in this world, and there's such a disparity.
Well, that's right. 2/3 of the population of the world does not have access to clean water on a daily basis. That's important. And to bring it home to New York, there's not enough public toilets in Manhattan. Am I correct?
Thank God for Starbucks. That's what I say to that. Yep. Thomas Lavecchia, let's talk about the cold a little bit. It's been freezing lately. What's going on?
It's been bone chilling, and social media is a constant reminder of how cold it is and how much people miss the summer. Sprinkled in with some food pics. But with that being said, it's just friggin' cold and it's freezing.
So cold, and we've got it good here in downstate, upstate New York, Buffalo area.
Forget it's worse.
6 feet of snow.
Yep.
If you live in Buffalo and you can hear my voice, move. What are your thoughts about this cold weather, Snap?
Well, you always have these freaky weather situations, and thank goodness it's a very short cold snap, at least for us. At least we didn't get the snow. So that's the good part. And you remember, hurricane season ends November 30th. We dodged the bullet this year.
Right.
So I'm not complaining.
Okay, sounds good. Won't interrupt your Caribbean vacation down south a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the cold weather we've had. How have you been coping? How have you been dealing? And it feels like if it's 25 degrees now, it's going to be 25 degrees for the next 6 months.
Well, that's what we have to put up with in the New York area, but we know it's going to end. I mean, if you were living up in the Buffalo area, that's why real estate's so cheap up there.
Like I said, let's get them to move. Let me thank my guests, Thomas Lavecchia, Jackie Guzda, and Albert Goldson, the think tank here at Ebru. I'm Logan Crawford. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook, Ebru's TV talk show that does what else but help you keep your outlook fresh and informed. Thanks for joining us.